everybody. Welcome to our Healing Voices podcast and YouTube channel. This is episode 20. My name's Aaron Lahman. I'm the host. Today's episode will look a little bit differently. I'm just going to do a little download of what's going on in my world and my mind over here. And those of you who are brand new, just want to give you a little bit of an intro to what this podcast and YouTube channel is all about. For me, I've been, on and off engaging in this intentional healing for the last, basically since junior year of college-ish. So about 18-ish years. And I sometimes have felt super alone, especially, you read a book and then you're like, wait, what? This is new. This is earth shattering. This is mind opening, mind expanding, right? And you think, is anybody else reading this stuff or doing, like, pondering these things, having these experiences, feeling this connection? So that is a big reason I created this platform, this community, this Our Healing Voices community, because I yearn for us to know that we're not the only ones out there reading the books, doing the meditations, listening to the podcasts, engaging in the day-to-day body, mind, spirit, wellness habits. We're not the only ones. There's actually so many people around the world that are choosing peace, growing their peace, working for peace, and doing whatever they can to just get lighter, more loving, more patient, more honest, more aware. And so this is one of the main reasons that I launched this, was because I just feel like maybe you felt alone. I know I have, and I think there's a lot of us that have actually felt pretty alone on this journey. So I wanted to make sure we all knew that there's other people engaged in the work. Second reason that I'm really passionate about this is, and those of you who are brand new, I typically am interviewing somebody. So I've done 18 interviews up till now, and my goal is just to bring voices forward, people who love people. At the end of the day, like I want to interview people who love people, not flawless beings, but people on the journey, right? People that are choosing to do their best daily, and sometimes doing awesome and sometimes right? So interviewing and having these people share their voice of how they're shifting, of how they're transforming, of what healing they've done over the last 20 years, over the last 40 years. How have they let go of that habit or that pattern? And so my goal is to bring voices on, courageous voices on, to just share, like, wow, I went through this and this is how I came out on the other end, feeling grounded and feeling connected and feeling loved. Or this is what I'm going through, right? I want to interview people that are not just like, we're all continuing the process. We're all in process, right? So bringing people on that are willing to share their stories that remind us of our interconnection, right? Remind us, hey, whoa, all right, I can relate to what she said or he said. That vibes with me. I want to research more about that. So-and-so talked about this nutrition plan being a game changer for them. I definitely am ready for a nutrition shift. Let me listen in. So the hope is that by us hearing other voices, we'll learn new things. We'll be inspired to shift things in our own world. And then 3, we'll also be reminded that our voice is just as important. Us sharing our stories of transformation, our stories of, like, just little shifts, the little habits that we're adding into our life to make our life better, more fulfilling, more peaceful, that's improving our communities, it's improving our homes and our friendships and our relationships. For all of us to know that our voice is uber critical and uber important for the healing of the masses. And again, I'm going to breathe that in, just that our voices are key and our courageous healing is necessary and important. So wherever you're out on your journey, whether it's been easy as of late, whether it's been hard, or whether it's been a little bit of both, welcome. Welcome to episode 20. I'm going to share a little bit now about how, perhaps you've noticed, those of you who've been on this podcast journey with me since the beginning, some of you have noticed like I've been on a little bit of a slower flow as far as content creation goes, as far as putting out new episodes. And if I'm real honest about that, it is fear has been distracting me. Anxiety has been challenging me. Just worry about the elbow or the unkind word that could come, where somebody might really come, say like, oh, I don't really like what you're doing. I don't agree with what you're doing. I think it's misguided. Anyway, that I, as a young man, a 39-year-old, I have had these fears coming up for me. Even though I really feel passionate about what this is and what we're creating together, these interviews and this community, what we're creating together is a safe place to come authentically and honestly as yourself and to talk openly about what's going on and what's good and what's crappy and what's difficult and what's painstakingly not fun, right? Creating a community, like I believe in what I'm doing, and yet I'm afraid that I'm going to get elbowed. I'm afraid that I'm going to get popped in the chin and somebody's going to say something that hurts that inner child, that child self, right? I'm a child. I've got Aaron, the little guy inside, right? And Aaron, the little guy inside, really likes the positive feedback loops. And so when I hear a critical word or a YouTube video gets a dislike, I'm like, oh, yuck. But thanks for listening. I know this is part of the journey, right? Not everyone is gonna resonate with the people I interview, with the words that are coming out of my mouth, of people I'm interviewing. Not everybody is gonna resonate with it, and that's okay. And I have to keep going because my goals are important. My hopes are important. My dream of creating a more curious, more humble, more open, more loving world is what's motivating me, right? That's motivating me to keep on going. So I just wanted to say that, as I've slowed my content creation, slowed down the interviewing, my last interview, episode 19, I interviewed Adara back at the beginning of December. And here we are almost at the end of February. And it's because of fear. It's because of fear. I'm sure we've all felt it over the last 12 months. It seems that a lot of people are getting louder and louder and louder, and the critical voices are very loud. And to be honest, it's just kind of like, it overwhelmed me. It overwhelmed me to the point where I was like, ooh, I'm afraid to get the elbow to the face. I don't really like getting tripped or kicked. I just want all of us to live in peace. Can't we all live in peace? So what do I do? What do we do when these fears pop up, right? How do we stay focused and committed to what we're doing? And I just want to share three things that I'm choosing to focus on that's going to keep me going here in 2021, where I choose to commit. I'm committing to doing more interviews, having more conversations, bringing more voices forward, where we can learn together, heal together, grow together, expand together, and create a better world together. I'm committed to that because of many reasons, but these three I'm just going to focus on three reasons. So number one is, and I shared this at the beginning, but number one, one of the main reasons I'm choosing to continue this path, even though I'm afraid, is community. I continue to find myself inspired and motivated by others. I also find inspiration from within, but I really do love hearing the stories of others and love learning what's working for somebody. I love hearing an honest vulnerability of like, ooh, this is hard. I love just knowing that I'm not alone. I'm not on an island by myself. And my hope and prayer about this podcast, about this YouTube channel, is that we can create a place where it's okay to come raw and real. It's okay to, eventually I want to host retreats, right? I want to host retreats for Our Healing Voices listeners and people I've interviewed in the past, and where we can really come together and grow together, heal together. And so for me, it's, yes, we all have individual, like, important healing work to do as ourselves. But for me, it's about the whole, right? Sometimes we forget, or I forget, that I'm a part of this whole, right? I'm a part of all of it. I'm a part of people all around the world. I'm connected to people all around the world. And so for me, it's community. It's community that calls me to keep on going. So speaking of that, I have a question for you to jot down or think about as you're listening in. Who is somebody that has completely shifted the way in which you view the world? Who's like a big mentor in your world? Maybe it's somebody you've met. Maybe it's somebody you're like best friends with. Maybe it's somebody that you found through the internet. Maybe it's somebody that your friend told you about, or somebody gifted you a book and you started reading this book, and now you're feeling stronger and healthier and more encouraged and empowered. Who is that person, right? And write down. So if you're taking notes or jotting things down, like, what have they added to your life? What have they brought into your life? You knowing them. What's shifted? What's improved? What have they said? What values have they communicated to you that have touched you? Maybe they've been an amazing listener to you and reminded you that you're safe and that you're supported. How have they added and shifted and changed your world? And I actually have two questions. The second question is, who under the age of 18, now I want you to think about or write down, if you're jotting down notes, under the age of 18, who's somebody you care deeply about? So for me, when I'm thinking about under the age of 18, I'm thinking about my 2 nieces and 2 nephews, okay? These 4, my nieces and nephews, are inspirations, because I know that my healing is interwoven, interconnected with their healing, right? We share DNA lines, right? We share DNA lines. And I know that if I heal and if I let go of some of the crap, right, from where I've come from, the stuff that no longer serves us, me, all of us going forward, right? I know that my healing can directly impact them. So who are those people for you? And what do you yearn for them? So if it's a grandchild or a couple grandchildren, if it's your 3 kids, if it's a niece or a nephew, someone, or it could be a few teenagers, right? Or a few children. Write those names down, or have those, visualize that person, those people, and write down, what do you hope for them? When I think about my niece and nephew, when you think about your kids, your grandkids, these children and teenagers that you're connected to, that you love deeply, what are you visioning? What are you hoping for them in this next decade, 2 decades, 5 decades? What do you yearn they experience? What do you hope that they feel? Yeah. So for me, this podcast, it's for me, it's for my healing, It's for the people I'm interviewing and their healing. It's for you, those of you who are listening. It's also for my nieces and my nephews. And it's for your kids. And it's for the young people that are our future generations, right? This next 20, 30, 40 years, like us growing this community together, me doing these interviews, even though I'm afraid sometimes, it's for those kids. It's for the younger generation, right? Because as I get lighter and stop carrying this weight of the world and these burdens and these thought patterns that are really not helping me any longer, as I'm letting go of that, my nieces and nephews feel it. They feel it in my energy. I got to breathe that in. They feel it in my energy. My nieces and nephews feel it in my energy. They feel when I'm heavy and weighted and stressed. And hey, we're human, right? It's not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about growth. It's about doing our best, you know, but they feel it in our energy, right? Your grandkids, your kids, they feel when you're with them. My nieces and my nephews feel when I'm with them, when I'm listening, when I'm engaged, when I'm present. And they feel when I'm in my head and when I'm I'm elsewhere, right? They know it, they feel it, it's different. And so do we, right? In our friendships and in this community, as we grow this, as we co-create in these days, months, years ahead, right? We feel connection. We feel your healing is benefiting me. My healing is benefiting you. Your healing is benefiting my future kids. My healing is benefiting your grandkids, right? We're just like, it's all influencing one another. So, community. When I'm feeling afraid of getting elbowed or somebody saying, ooh, I don't really like what you're doing. I don't like who you're in, you know, whatever. It's going to come. It's going to come. It's part of walking the world, walking through life, right? And doing scary things. Like sometimes people are going to not like it, not choose it, right? I have to say, I watched a YouTube video back in December, this powerful TED video, and literally was bawling my eyes out. It was like a 14-minute video. Sarah, my wife, and I were watching it. We're both crying. It's like, oh, this is so beautiful, so powerful, important. And I got to the end, and then I looked at like the likes and the dislikes and the comments. And yeah, there was like 20,000 likes, but there was also like 1,500 dislikes. And I'm sitting there, my soul is invigorated. I'm feeling inspired. I'm feeling connected to others. I'm feeling love, right? I'm feeling love deeply. And how all these people said they didn't like it. So point is, we may be afraid, but what if our work, what if our healing, what if, you know, these conversations, what if they change somebody else's life? Right? What if they make somebody else's life better? So we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going, our healing voices. Second thing driving me, motivating me is just the body, mind, spirit healing. We talk about it every episode in different ways, right? But just the consciousness raising, the evolution, the, you know, identifying, right? Sarah and I were talking last night. How we show up today. I saw something here in the last 48 hours, and it said that 98% of the life we're living today is based on our subconscious programming. Subconscious programming happens between 0 and 7, birth and 7 years old-ish, right? Something like that. If you've already dove into this, you probably know better than I. If you haven't, Google it, dive into it a little bit, look into it. Subconscious programming, first 7 years of our life. It's locking into our cells. We're getting energetic downloads. We're just receiving information in like next level sponge, right? We're next level sponges as we're coming onto this earth. And so then we are seeking then the rest of our lives to recreate and continue to create that energy, those emotions, those physical realities, right? we're seeking to just keep on creating that, and it's just subconsciously happening. So what if we have some subconscious programming that's not helpful? I think we could all write down something. So let's do it, or think about it right now. What's one subconscious program? What's one thing that you were raised in? Likely many. We all have probably many ways in which we were raised, whether it's familial, whether it's societal, whether it's cultural, whether it's school, right? What's one thing? What's one reality that you were raised in that is still influencing your everyday? It's continuously showing up. It distracts you. It irritates you when you're experiencing something different. Because whether we like it or not, we want to hang on to that subconscious program. We want to keep replaying it, even though it may not serve us. Even though it may not serve us, right? Even though I need to let go of this idea, right? For me, right? I need to let go of this idea that my worth is in my work. My worth is found only after a 10-hour day, right? I know that this is not of love. I know. For me, it's not of love. I know that really my worth is right here, right now. My worth is being on the beach, listening to hummingbirds, like enjoying the present moment, communing with other people. My worth, it's not about what I produce or, how much success I have. My worth is not in that, right? My worth is infinite. It is now. It is not about that, the production. My worth is now. My worth is when I wake up. My worth is when I'm resting. I'm worthy. So that's a story. That's a shift. That's a subconscious program that I'm seeking to release. My parents, my siblings, we're all seeking to release that story where we so heavily are wound into my worth is in service and work and projects and doing and doing and doing. And I'm forgetting that I'm a human being and I'm a spiritual being and I am allowed to breathe and connect and heal and rest, right? So, yeah, what's yours? What's one of yours that you're shifting right now, that you're proudly shifting, that you're courageously transforming, letting go of one program, right? And being like, yep, no longer does that help, right? No longer does that help. We're going to mix it up. We're going to stop fueling that. We're going to stop putting water on that synapse, that program, and we're going to start a new program. We're going to start a new way of thinking about life and about ourselves, about being alive. Question number 2 with body, mind, spirit healing. What's one thing? What's one physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, energetic shift that you've made that you're feeling pumped about? So whether that's in the last 12 months, whether that's in the last 6 days, whether that's in the last 5 years, what's one shift that you're feeling proud of? Could be a nutritional shift, right? Could be something, could be a 10-minute walk you've added into your days, or 3 days a week or something. Maybe it's just going outside and breathing in nature. Maybe it's a friendship that you had to say goodbye to that no longer is serving you or helping you on the path that you needed to set a boundary. What's a body, mind, spirit shift that you've made that has made your life better? That's brought great healing to you. How has it helped? What's it helped with? Who has it helped? Has it helped you, but also your kids? Has it helped you, but also your friends? How is that shift making life better for you and others? So this is the other reason I've got to keep doing this, because we are engaged, whether conscious or unconscious. We are in process. We are growing and healing and learning and expanding, and we are continuously being sponges. You know, how in this next 5, 10, 15 years, how can I improve or shift or change or let go of things that don't serve me? How can I grow? How can I expand? How can I make life better, more grand, more wonderful for me and for everyone? How can I be a part of that? And so even though I feel fear pop up for me, that makes me want to just like be like, all right, that was good. That was fun. That was a fun launch of the podcast. That was cool. I'm so grateful for everybody I interviewed, but I can't do it. I'm afraid. I'm scared. When those feelings pop up, when those insecurities pop up, I have to remember, oh my gosh, we've got to have these conversations. We've got to have these conversations. It's just important. In a world that is, once we are turning into rapid, it's just like fast. It's just fast. It's coming at us so fast. And what if this podcast just allows myself, allows the people I interview, allows you to slow down for an hour and a half, 30 minutes? What if it allows us to slow down and have conversations with ourselves and have conversations with those we care about? And what if it really shifts things for the better? What if it completely changes somebody's life? What if somebody hears an episode and walks away being like, yes, I've got to go to yoga school, or yes, I've got to read that book. I can't believe I haven't read that book yet. It's been sitting there for how long? It's time. I've got to go to that retreat. I've got to shift that friendship. I've got to connect and commune with other people that are on this journey, right? So what if I've got to keep going, right? I've got to keep going. We've got to keep going together, because we're creating a momentum, a movement of health. And the train is going to just show up right now to remind us to breathe, to remind me to breathe, to remind me to soak in this moment. So this healing work you're doing, the healing work I'm choosing, the healing work people around the world are choosing, is uber necessary. So to close this second section, right, that's reminding us why we have to keep going, we have to keep having these conversations, we have to keep looking in the mirror and saying, I love you, Aaron, I love you, Caleb, I love you, Nathan, I love you, Olivia, right? We've got to keep having these conversations. We've got to keep breathing in kindness and warmth and love. The Dalai Lama said, I was in Austin, Texas with my buddy 15 years ago, and we got to hear the Dalai Lama. It was like a live stream. We didn't get a ticket to the actual arena. It was sold out, which is a great thing, but we got to watch the live stream. And the live stream, he was asked by somebody in the audience, they said, will we ever experience nuclear disarmament in this world? So will nuclear arms, will nuclear warfare, will that ever go away? Will we ever experience world peace? And the Dalai Lama peacefully was like, he said, as each being on this earth chooses to disarm within, then we can experience nuclear disarmament. We can experience world peace. So he just said, you disarming, Aaron Lahman, you disarming, you listening, you disarming and releasing the resentments, the chaos, the extreme stress, the habits, right? The stuff that no longer serves us. As we are disarming growing our peace, disarming and releasing the junk. As we disarm, that is our only hope for world peace. What a great reminder. So I've got to keep doing interviews. I've got to keep having conversations. I've got to keep learning from others about how we can heal. I want to, I want to keep growing this community so we can keep healing together and learning together, expanding together and disarming together. The third zone and a reason that I've got to keep on this path is the earth. So I would love for you to think of or visualize or write down what's a place on the earth that brings you great peace. Do you love the mountains, the snowy slopes in Colorado? Do you love the beach, the ocean? Do you love your local park? Like where is a place? It doesn't have to be some vacation spot. It could be a place at your, in nature. What's a spot in nature? Even me just sitting outside here is so exhilarating as I hear the birds and the sounds and they swoop through, and it reminds me, and I see the palm trees and the bamboo. And so where is a place that increases your peace? It increases your vibrational frequency where you're just like, I am on an earth right now. How cool, how amazing. This is phenomenal. So where for you? And what does it bring to you? How does it shift you? When you're walking on that sandy beach, when you're hiking, when you're sitting in the park, when you're visiting that island. Yeah, what's it do? How's it help you? So my hope and prayer that is that this podcast helps us all as we heal. I think what happens as we courageously heal, what happens is I think we start identifying more with just our connection to everything. It's like, yes, I am Aaron Lahman, and yes, I am also you, and I'm connected to all of this. I'm connected to like these plants, these trees, the ocean, all of it. I'm not here having life. I'm not having this human experience without the plants, without the earth, right? I don't have the opportunity to breathe and be alive without the plants. We watched a documentary on Netflix back in the summer. I forget exactly what it was called, something about connection, but he talks about how the Amazon rainforest depends upon the Sahara. I think it's the Sahara Desert in Africa. That if it were not to blow, if the sand were not to blow across the ocean and then coat the rainforest canopy, like the rainforest would not exist. Like these are the incredible parts of, right? That, I mean, for me, that's like, are you kidding me right now? And that rainforest without that sand, and then us without that rainforest, us without that sand, we're not here enjoying this human experience together. So for me, this podcast, these conversations, hopefully remind us of our infinite nature, of our this like awe-inspiring reality that we're a part of. That wow, I do have thoughts, and I am Aaron, and I am this body, but I'm also like way more and so much more, right? I'm just so connected to all of this. So this, my passion for the earth, and I'm looking forward to, in these next 20 episodes, to have more conversations about how we can each show up in ways that continue to honor our connection to this earth. So to have, so I'm really looking forward to some conversations here in the coming months where we get to dive into this connection to the earth and how we can better honor and respect the earth. The second earth question is, what, again, we're all at different places. For me, the idea of the climate shifting, right? The earth warming up, global warming, it bounces me between sadness and nervousness. And also, it also, propels me into, oh my gosh, there is an urgency for us to like wake up to our connection to the earth. And how are we going to do that? How can we, because I really like being a human. I really like being alive. And when I think about my nieces and nephews and I think about my future kids, like I yearn for them to I yearn for humans to choose to take better care of this earth and to enjoy life for much longer on this earth, right? How are you processing through all of that? How are you processing through this climate change reality that, I'm sure we could all watch a documentary on climate change and cry and feel sad and scared. And it's, and yet how do we walk aware, right? How do we walk aware of the shifting times that we're a part of and vision something different, right? Vision humans, consuming less, caring more, and communing with the earth and communing with one another more, right? So, maybe just jot if you've got thoughts on climate change. If you're, are there specific things you're doing or you're excited about? Doing your part, right? I think we all have responsibility to do our part, and again, for me, I have to continuously remind myself of like the process and like choosing excellence and doing our best and not about perfection, right? So for me in this last year with COVID and everything, like one highlight, one step that Sarah and I made was Sarah ordered up a bunch of fruit trees. Like we got a bunch of fruit trees because here in the San Diego County area, like we can grow a lot of things. And so that's been a very big highlight for me is, wow, over this next 5 years, taking care of these trees, like how might that's going to benefit myself, our family, my neighbors, because there's going to be, as the fig trees grow, as the passion fruit grows, as the olives grow, right? As they grow, like how can I, as the avocados grow, right? This is exciting about how I can shift and right? I've just heard so many people in my life that care deeply about the earth. They're like, we've got to start gardening. We've got to start, getting our food from closer to home. And so, anyway, so thinking about one thing, what's one thing you've shifted, one thing you've chosen, to honor that connection to the earth. So, and again, so this, when those fears pop up, when I'm like, what am I doing? For me, my hope is that, when we're engaging in the body, mind, spirit healing and wellness, this wellness world, we're being reminded of our connection to it all. We're being reminded of the simple beauty. We're reminded of like our responsibility, our co-creative responsibility, and our connection to all of it. So anyway, thanks for listening. I wanted to be honest about the fears, right? And I know you probably have your own fears about what your reality is like right now. And, or hesitating on a goal or hesitating on a dream. And, I hear you. And I don't know what it's like to be you. But I appreciate you listening to me today, just sharing a little bit about how, yes, I feel this fear, right? This fear is there. And Yes. And yes, I must keep creating. I must keep interviewing. I must keep doing whatever I can to grow this Our Healing Voices community, um, just to help people, to help the earth, to help us all experience greater peace. And, you know, with the long-term vision of disarming the earth, disarming the world and humans, right? That we can all be a part of that shift and that awakening. So again, if you're brand new or if you've been with me for a while, thanks for being a part of this journey. Thanks for being a part of this Our Healing Voices community. I believe in you. I'm cheering you on. And yeah, don't ever hesitate to reach out. I'd love to connect, set up a call, and, you know, and just learn together, grow together. I'm really excited about the upcoming episodes. Stay tuned for those here in the coming weeks. And yeah, I'm just know you're not alone, and your voice is so important. May we continue to heal, continue to say yes to our worth and our love and our connection to everything that is, one day at a time. We got this. We got this. See you.